Hey all you cool cats and kittens, this is Carol here from Big Cat Rescue. Just kidding. Carol Baskins is definitely going to jail for murdering her husband. Well, who am I really to say? Although her sardine oil comment was pretty fishy. Ha, get it? Fishy. Woo! Y'all did not know I was that funny, did ya? Anyway, going back to our NTI. Also, hope you guys are having a great day. But going back to our NTI, this video is for days 30, 31, and 32. So on days 30 and 31, you are going to be doing something new. And then you're going to put those two things together for a little bit of practice on day 32. So, again, we're still talking about polygons. We're still talking about the angles of the polygons. And we're still talking about the interior angles of our polygons. But for these 3 days, days 30, 31, and 32, you're going to be working backwards. So on day 30, you're going to be given the sum of all the angles, and you'll have to work backwards to find out how many sides the polygon has. So there are a couple examples done for you on day 30. I'm going to do one more right here. Let's say that the problem tells us that the sum of all the interior angles is 700 or 7,200. So that's my sum. So we know we have that formula that the sum of all the angles n minus 2 times 180. And that's basically what we're going to be using here. So I have my sum, S is my sum, equals parenthesis n minus 2 times 180. So this time I didn't put anything in for n because I don't know n. I don't know the number of sides. I do know S, which is the angle sum. So this is what I have, and I'm working backwards trying to solve for n. So the next thing that I need to do is go ahead and move the 180. So I'm going to divide by 180 so that it cancels here, and then over onto the other side as well. So 7,200 divided by 180 is 40, and then I still have this n minus 2. I can drop the parentheses right there. And then I just have one more step, which is to add the 2. And I get the number of sides is 42. So if I plug that back into the formula, if I do 42 minus 2 times 180, so 42 minus 2, that's 40 times 180, I'm going to get that number 7,200. So that's one way I can kind of check my work. So that's what day 31 looks like. You're going to be doing the same thing on day 30 in any problem like that because you are using a formula. So you're going to have the same steps every time. You're just going to have different numbers. So every time you're going to put the sum of your angles right here. And every time you're going to have n minus 2 times 180. Your next step every time is to divide by that 180. Every single time you're going to do that. And then you have equals n minus 2 every single time because it's a formula. And then add the 2 every single time, and that will give you the value of n. Okay, so it's just a process, just going through the steps. Day 31 is pretty similar to that, except on day 31, it does give you the measure of one interior angle of a regular polygon. So it's really important that the polygon is regular, which means, again, that all the angles are going to be congruent. So whatever number it gives you, every single angle in that polygon will have that measure. And so because it is regular, because all the angles are congruent, it does allow you to solve for the number of sides. Okay, so on day 31, I think you have another 1 or 2 examples working this out. So I'm going to do one more right here. Let's say that the measure of one interior angle of a regular polygon is 172.8. So on days, I think 28 and 29, you were finding those single angle, one angle of a regular polygon. And so we had to do the n minus 2 times 180, and then we also had to divide by n. So on day 31, when it gives you one interior angle of a regular polygon, you set it up a little bit differently, because this is the formula here that you would use to find the one interior angle of your regular polygon. So this one actually has a different first step. This first step would be to get n out of the denominator, which I would do by multiplication. I'm going to cancel here, and I have to do it on the other side as well. So I'm going to bring that down. 172.8 n, because I multiplied, equals n minus 2 times 180. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit different from day 31, because if I just divide by 180 right now, it's not really going to help me very much. So I actually need to go ahead and distribute my 180 over here. So I'm going to bring this down because it's going to stay the same. So 180 times n is 180n. 180 times negative 2 is a negative 360. And that's actually going to happen over here every single time, because, you know, it's a formula. This part is not changing. So when I distribute my 180, I get 180n minus 360 every time. Okay, so now I have just a little multi-step equation here. I need to get all my n's on the same side. So I'm going to move my 180n over by subtracting. I cancel here. I want to do it on the other side also. 172.8n minus 180n is going to give me a negative 7.2n. And that is going to be equal to a negative 360. Make sure you do bring down the negative there on the 360. All right, trying to get n by itself, one more step. Divide by this negative 7.2. I cancel. Divide by negative 7.2 over here as well. And negative 360 divided by negative 7.2 is going to give me 50. So that means if I go back into my problem and I plug in 50 for n, so 50 minus 2 times 180, and then I divide that number by 50, I'm going to get 172.8. Okay, so again, day 31, we're still using the formula, so that means every problem that is just like this one, you're going to do the same exact thing. So you're going to put your one interior angle of a regular polygon right here. And then this side, you have your formula, n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. Your first step from there is to times by n. So this number gets an n. And then on this side, you're left with your n minus 2 times 180. After that, you're going to distribute that 180. So I have the same thing over on the left side, equals. And then over on the right side, I'm always going to have 180n minus 360. I'm going to move my n's to the same side. So every time I'm going to subtract 180n. I'm going to do that every single time. I get that number is equal to negative 360. It will be equal to that negative 360 every single time. And then I'm going to divide by whatever number is here. And that is going to tell me how many sides that my polygon has. If I want to check my answer, I can go ahead and plug it back in. Okay. If you have multiple choice problems, you can also guess and check with your answer choices. If you are choosing to guess and check with your answer choices, I need to see that work on your paper. So write down the answer that you get and mark out your wrong answers and things like that. As you practice with these, though, you should be able to kind of pick up on some shortcuts where you don't have to write as much work down. You can kind of do a little bit more in your head, or you can find a different starting place when you do start to write down. I hope this helps for days 30, 31, and 32. See you guys.